Um, so, were you guys aware that in 1971, a man named Alan Shepard hit 2 golf balls on the lunar surface? It's the only sport that was partially done on the moon. Golf is a sport that can be played by any age person, and you learn life skills from it, like honesty and courtesy are the 2 main ones, and sportsmanship would be another main one. In my speech, I'll talk about like who can all play it and how it can stick with you throughout your life, and the technique it takes, and that golf isn't just luck. And the last thing I'll talk about is the life skills that you get out of golf. The youngest I have been known to golf is 3. I started golf lessons at 4, but I don't know if you really can go much younger. And you can play it up until you are dead for the most part. I know someone who's 93 and still golfs really well. And a lot of work groups will do it. Like, for example, my dad, he works for State Farm, and he's had multiple, group golf things. And it also can help, the life skills that you can get out of is, for courtesy, you, take your turn, you learn that because whoever's up next, instead of, going straight to yours, especially when you're putting, you have to wait, whoever's farthest out play, or hits their ball, and then so on. Which, that's showing an example how, and also, when you're putting, another courteous thing to do is to stay out of their line of where they're putting, and if it's a sunny day, your shadow can mess up their putting, so it's polite to stay back. And honesty, there's not much, but your score is a big thing in golf, so that helps you, telling the truth on your score. If you're keeping track of someone else's, make sure you get the right one. It also helps you with, teach you, rules, etiquette, when you hit the green, and if you hit it, at, an angle, and, it's not, rolling on, it could leave a divot, so, that's where, there's, a hole in the ground, and that can mess, with your putting. So they ask you to fix your divot, so you just, get under the ground and, push it back up so it's flat. And, with technique, a lot of people think that it's just luck. I always thought it was until I realized that it's not. One main thing for technique is the club face. So this is obviously the bottom, and this is the toe, and this is the toe, and this is the head of the club. And if you have the toe of the head, either in front or behind the opposite, that'll kind of determine the angle of where your ball is gonna go. So you want to make sure you have it squared, and you want to make sure that this part is flat against the ground. Another thing is your posture, which is really important. Which your shoulders should stay pretty, you should have an angle. You're supposed to tilt your shoulders a little, but you don't want them all too going lopsided. And your spine, so this shows your spine angle, and you want to keep your spine angle as steady as possible. So you are supposed to twist instead of swaying back and forth, messes with your spine, and that's a lot of reason why golfers have their backs always hurting, is because of like their posture and their swing. And then your hips are also super important in golf. Like, you don't want to be moving them a ton. You want to be like rotating them. And this shows a swing of the proper way too, which like that would be like a good stance. And like having a good swing like helps like where, like how far, like if you have good, like if you have like good posture, like that'll help like maintain your balance and like will help you like with your swing, like with getting like power to it. And for this one, it shows like how far they go back, and that's important because you don't, if you go too far back, because they're at like a 90-degree angle, if you go any more, it will also affect your back. Like that, like I had some back and like neck issues last year, and that's because I was swinging too far back. So you don't want to go any farther than that. And another thing with your swing is you want to keep your arms out. You don't want them like tucked into your body. And you see that like this guy, his hips are turning instead, like his hips aren't moving like back and forth. Like he's just like turning, like this hip comes forward, and then on his follow, like when he's following through, his other hip comes forward, which is important to do. And then in this one, your follow through is super important. And you want to turn like completely towards where you're hitting it, not, you want to turn even more. If you're a right-handed golfer, you turn more to the right, just as far as you can go. But golf is a sport that like you can do your whole life, unlike most other sports. And I just like explained how like golf isn't just all technique, or isn't all luck. It does take some technique, and you can do it throughout your life, and you can learn life skills from it. And you, like if you get the chance to golf, I would recommend it because it's something that you can, that can stay with you your whole life.